So are there questions that I need to address?
Well, now would be a good time. Thank you, by the way, Stacy. That was great. So now would be a good time for anybody that's out there to submit a question and do so. Again, it's the Q&A box in the lower right-hand corner. But I certainly have some questions, so I wanted to jump in before anybody else did. But
okay.
The one thing that, especially after sitting through and watching the ADDM, I have a couple of questions relative to both. And I assume here that AssetCore has its own database or CMDB, and that you populate that database, and then you can integrate it to FootPrints, or you can integrate it to Remedy Force. So is that? I guess that's the first part of the question then. And then the second part is would it be possible, like that example that I alluded to in the first part of the conversation today, if something gets discovered and it's out there and it wasn't supposed to be out there, can you kind of search to see if there's been a change request made? And if not, can you send some sort of alert out to figure out what's going on?
Yes, so I guess to answer your first question, it has its own CMDB. It does have the integration so that those service desks would basically have all the information that's inside of FootPrints. As far as, so let's say I'm doing my discovery and I see devices popping up that shouldn't be there because there's been no change that went through that said we could stand up another server. Yes, at this point now you're armed with and you can see the device, and then basically that reconciliation is what you would take to your change manager or the board to say, hey, this device was stood up and there's no RFC for it. What do we want to do? Mm-hmm. But, yeah, this would basically be that integration back to, again, whatever that service management tool was that's in play. Is it FootPrints, Service Core, was it Remedy Force?
Okay. Another question. I mentioned talking about physical inventory or potentially using barcode scanning to do something like that, and we have a product called Scanstar, which attaches to FootPrints. And I would assume that it works with AssetCore as well, or maybe does it update the FootPrints database, or does it update both databases? Do you know how that works?
Yeah, so those assets you could scan in to the Scanstar, and they would be available inside of FootPrints. Service Core. And then once you've done that and you're entering the tickets, then yes, that information you would port, if you will, over to AssetCore. Because at that point, once I put that agent on them, then they're going to reside in my AssetCore database as well. But that Scanstar is it's scanning them in, the barcode, and you can almost pre-populate it before that asset arrives, or do the reconciliation with the one that actually has the agent on it to what that barcode or asset tag is for the actual device.
Right. Okay. And then one other question, I want to get this one in too, because I like the way when you started out the demo, there was asset management, and there was a device topology and a network topology and a connectivity topology, and you described how it worked, and it looked a little bit like dependency mapping. But obviously it's not, because you're only kind of giving you a view of what everything looks like and how everything is connected. You're not really giving any more detail than that. Is that right? If you really wanted those dependency mapping, you need ADDM.
That's correct. So the views that we show are just for the devices, not necessarily any of the applications that would reside on there or that you would get from ADDM. So it will tell you the devices that are connected into a switch, the devices that are on a given network, but what it won't show you is, hey, I have this business level application. What does that topology look like across these devices?
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to, because we're running out of time. Let's get to some of the questions that are queued up here. And the first one is, I think you're. Go ahead. I just brought it back up. The question is, can you touch on the alerts tab? Can that be used to send alerts in lieu of report? Did you not share your screen? I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I went back to the deck. Yes. So let me get back and just go into that. Okay, so this alerts and events, I think, was the question.
Yes, go to the alerts tab.
Okay, so these are from my asset core infrastructure. And so I think, now was the question
just to walk through that, just can that be used to send alerts in lieu of reports?
In lieu of reports. I'm not sure I understand the question.
All right. Well, we can get back. Let's move on then.
Okay.
Next question here is my issue has to do with getting the agent on all machines. I am new to my organization. We are in a conversion phase. The short of it is that installing the BMC agent may conflict with some other remote control software. Is that as likely a number of our machines are not on the domain on the network, but not on the domain? So I think, did you kind of get the gist of that question? Is how do you get the agents on all the machines when you may have some conflicts with remote control software?
Well, so you can do the push, obviously, from the console, from this console, but you can also do more of a pull. So that agent installation is an executable. We can make that executable available. You can put it onto a share, the emailing of it, or, you know what I mean, just kind of put it somewhere where they're going to be able to access it, where it will then end up on their machine. Now, that agent conflicting with other software, I guess it would depend, because it's configurable to ports. I'm not sure if the conflict is with the ports or with some other aspect, but depending upon how that other remote control is configured, we would just need to potentially do different ports, etc. Right.
And again, that's something that we can help with, because typically we'll assist with not just the purchase, but of course with the implementation too, and we can get this up and running anywhere from 1 week to several weeks, depending upon the size of your organization, and that would be something that we could get involved with right off the bat. So, we may be able to help. We can take that offline and help a little bit later on. Any other questions out there? I don't see any. Wait a minute. Well, it's back to that same question that was asked before. Instead of generating a report, can an alert be sent via email to notify an administrator? So it's just a clarification on the previous question.
Oh, so as opposed to it coming, yes, I understand. So as opposed to the alert coming here, when an action occurs, can I email someone that whatever has happened in this system?
Right.
Yep, I believe that's the question. And so then, yes, I can. And so for each of my tasks, across the top was the email, if you will. And so then I would email on that alert or that condition in addition to just sending the alerts here to the console.
Okay. Well, I think we've come. Oh, there's one more question.
Okay.
Can the remote control tool handle a workstation that has multiple monitors connected to it?
I'll have to double check. So I think the question is, well, which monitor would be returned back? So let me take that one offline and verify that.
That seems a little technical. So anyway, good. Thank you, Stacy. It was really good. And so, of course, thank you for everybody that's out there for attending. We've really come to the end here. And if we missed a question, we'll certainly get back to you, because we did get a list of that, and we're happy to do that. Certainly, again, Stacy, appreciated your support. Thank you, everybody that's out there for attending. I want to remind you again that we've recorded this, and it'll be available for playback, and we'll get the links out to you very quickly. Before we sign off, I just wanted to put in a quick plug. If you know us, we know that we do these webinars all the time. We're having another one come up in a week or two on X Matters for BMC Remedy. That looks very good. We're also going to be doing a cruise on the Potomac, so for those that are based in the Washington, D.C. area, that's coming up in May. We'll get the invitations out shortly, and the topic that is going to be BMC's new product called My IT. They just won an award for this at the Pink Elephant Show, so if you don't know what that is, you may want to sign up and learn a little bit more about it. So with that, we'll go ahead and close. Again, thanks everybody.